make you paralyzed.
Welcome back everyone, I'm Johnny Games. It's been a little bit of time since I've uploaded a video, and that's just because I've been working on some personal things in my personal life that couldn't be put off, but I'm back on the grind and I have a great video for you today. We're heading back to the Retroid Pocket 6. Now, I only own the base model Retroid Pocket 6, so it's a little bit limited when it comes to its specs. It has a great processor, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, but it only has 8 gigabytes of RAM and only 128 gigabytes of internal storage. So that does leave it a little bit limited when it comes to some of its specs. So I'm always looking for things to boost its performance. The first thing that I decided to do was to download a program that helped me detune the processor a little bit so I could get more out of the GPU, and that's Pulse. Now I'm going to leave a link in the description below for you to get Pulse if that's something that you would like to put on your Retroid device too. But I found that that's really boosted frame rates overall and allows my Retroid Pocket 6 to run more quietly, and so the fan doesn't kick on as much. Just overall, it runs a lot better. But I still wanted more. Now, in a lot of my previous videos, I've done a lot of comparisons of comparing GameHub to Game Native. And I've been using GameHub actually a lot more than Game Native, and that's because it has built into it artificial frame generation. And that's a feature that has been very, very important in getting some of my harder to run games to run well on the Retroid Pocket 6. But in this video, we're going to turn our eye back to Game Native. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because Game Native overall, it may not be as performative as GameHub, but it plays more games and it's easier to get games to launch. And so GameHub or Game Native in general is just more user-friendly and definitely more beginner-friendly thanks to that Use Known Configuration button. But I wanted artificial frame generation in Game Native, so that led me to purchasing lossless scaling from Steam. Now you have to buy the file. It's not something that you can just get. So you have to buy the file, but it's not very expensive. It's only $6.99 plus whatever tax for the area of the world that you live in. And then it's very, very easy to use. I'm gonna show you how to use it in this video. And then more importantly, I've got 5 different games I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you how they run without using lossless scaling, and then I'm gonna show you the performative difference when you turn on lossless scaling. And spoiler alert, it is incredible. For $6.99, I think it's worth every penny. And so if you have a Retroid Pocket 6, a Retroid Pocket Nova, a AYN Thor, or an AYN Odin 2 Portal, I think it's going to be something that you should seriously consider. Now, I run it side by side with Pulse, and those two things combined are getting me incredible performance out of the games that I'm running on my Retroid Pocket 6. Okay, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the games. I'm excited to show you what I found. Okay, so the way you get your lossless scaling is that you're going to log in to your Steam account and you're going to search it in the search bar just like a game that you would search to purchase. And then it pops up, it's $6.99 plus whatever tax that you owe for your for wherever, you know, the part of the world that you live in. So for me, it was like $7.39, something like that total. And then how you use it is even easier. So you're gonna log into your Game Native account, and then you're gonna go to your container and you're gonna go to edit the container. You'll come over to the graphics section and you'll scroll all the way down to the bottom and enable the LSFGVK frame generation. Then you'll turn that on. It'll automatically download lossless scaling from Steam, save it, and then hit play, and you're ready to go. And that's all there is to it. But you are going to have to go in and edit the container for every single game you want to use it on. It's not going to automatically have it selected. And so for whatever game you want to use it, you're going to have to go in, hit edit container, go to the graphics section, scroll all the way to the bottom and enable the toggle switch there, and save it, and you're good to go. Okay everyone, so first video we have up today, and we're going to be running it without the lossless scaling on, is we have Saints Row number 4, and this is the remastered Saints Row. So I mean, it runs pretty good. We get anything between 40 and 20 frames a second. On the high end, sometimes we get as high as 45 to 50 frames a second, but it's not locked at all, and so it fluctuates quite a bit. Awful fun game though, and sometimes we get as high as like 60 frames a second, but it does not stay there. It's going to drop down to 30 frames. It's just going to bounce, you know, all around. But it's definitely playable. That never gets old. Oh my gosh, this game is so wild and crazy, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, you can see that it's, you know, it's definitely playable. Let's get a car here and see. See what kind of frame rates we get while we drive a car. All right, well, I guess a bus. So once all the assets load in and everything, we're going to get, you know, like I said, 50 to, you know, 40, 50, and then even sometimes as high as 60 frames a second. So like I said, it's definitely playable. So I wouldn't complain about having to play it without lossless scaling, but you'll see here in a second that with the lossless scaling, we get incredible frame rates. It's pretty awesome. So this game is absolutely ridiculous, but it's so much fun. If you haven't played Saints Row 4, I'd highly recommend it. I did have the third one, and I tried it on the base model Retroid Pocket 6, but it doesn't play it. Now that's going to be the remastered version that was remastered on Unreal Engine 5. So we're going to get into a fight here. You can see when we get into a fight, we got quite a bit of slowdown going on. Getting down to about 30 frames, and that's about as high as we're going to get. Well, 37, 38. Still is playable. But let's go ahead and check out with lossless scaling, and I'll show you the difference. All right, here we go. With lossless scaling going, we start out with about 120 frames, and then as all of the assets load in, we actually hover around 150 and upwards to 240 frames a second. So I mean, really smooth. Now, one of the things that with the lossless scaling that I've noticed when comparing it to the frame generation that we get with GameHub is that if the game already gets 60 frames, like a lock 60 frames, you're going to get a stutter. And so I use the lossless scaling for games that can't quite hold the 60 frames per second. And the ones that hover in the 30s and the 20s. So, all right, let's get out and get into a fight and show you the difference here. Yeah, so we have this fight going and we're still maintaining like 120 frames. I mean, such a better experience with lossless scaling. It's really incredible. It really extends the life of the Retroid Pocket 6 since it only, since my base model only has 8 gigabytes of RAM. We're just getting a lot more out of it. So yeah, now that the action's over, we're up to 213, holding over 200 frames a second. So yeah, huge difference in the smoothness of the camera angles and just how the game plays in general. It just plays so much better with the lossless scaling enabled. All right, everyone, next up for you, I have Far Cry 2. Now this game, when you're in the open world, you're going to get, anywhere between the high 20s to low 30s when it comes to frame rates. It does jump up to the 50s and 60s every now and then when you're doing something that's really isolated. But for the most part, you're going to be getting about, 34, 35 frames a second. So not bad, definitely playable. But here in a second, when we, bump up with the lossless scaling, you'll see that you get a significant performance jump. I suck. But I mean, definitely, excuse me, the game's definitely playable without using lossless scaling. It's just you'll see in a minute that you get a significant boost in performance when you turn it on. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn on lossless scaling and see what we get then. Alright, here we go. Far Cry 2 with lossless scaling. Okay, so you can see in this open world, instead of, getting that low 30s to high 20s frame rate, we're getting about 140, dipping down, to the 130s, but then it jumps up as high as, 200. So a significant performance boost. We'll go back to the same spot, get in that fight again. And show you the difference. And one thing about this game is that the map is so huge, you actually do have to drive to your locations. This is not a game where you can just run around from checkpoint to checkpoint. You're gonna have to use vehicles. It's pretty crazy. Okay, all right. Here we go. So we're just going to hold, 120 to 180 frames a second constantly with the lossless scaling enabled. I mean, just a huge performance boost. Overall, the game just plays, way more smooth. And then, one thing that I wasn't sure of is if we were going to get any latency in the controls using lossless scaling, and you don't. There's no type of latency, no type of difference in the game feel. The game feels exactly the same as if you weren't using it, and so controls are super responsive, and just everything just feels great. You just end up with way better performance. So there you go. It maintains a frame rate of above 150 frames a second. Pretty impressive. Okay, so next up for you, I have El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron. Now, this game originally came out on the Xbox 360, and it is a, action platformer. It's really, really an incredible game. Visually, one of the coolest games I've ever played in my life. I have to be honest, this game visually is it's stunning. It's so cool. But without the lossless scaling on, we get a good frame rate. We're gonna get, basically a locked 60 frames. And so this is gonna be kind of an example of a game that, doesn't necessarily need lossless scaling, but still, if you want to take advantage of the 120 frames of your Retroid Pocket 6 or the Pocket Nova screen, it's nice to use the lossless scaling. So, yeah, it died. So, but yeah, so you can see the game itself runs really well. It's a really exciting game, and this is going to be a game that throws you through a lot of different loops very often. And it's going to test your reflexes, and yeah. It's a fairly difficult game too. It's not the easiest game in the world. The combat isn't the craziest, but it's got a little bit of Devil May Cry going on with the combat, and yeah. Very, very cool game. I highly recommend it if you've never played this game. I would, don't sleep on it. So anyway, there you go. Let's go ahead and take a look at this game running with lossless scaling and check out the difference. Okay, so here we are with El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron, with lossless scaling on. And I did forget to mention that I am playing the version that is sold on Steam. So this was originally an Xbox 360 title, and then it got remastered and now is available on Steam. And that's the version that I'm playing. So but it's a pretty insane game. It's going to have, you know, it has some parts that are like a Metroidvania. It has parts that are like Devil May Cry. It just has a lot of different things going for it. But I think one of the most striking things about the game is its art style. It has one of the most insane art styles of any game I've ever played in my life. It's crazy. There's quite a bit of platforming involved. Oh. Okay, so I guess I gotta follow his tracks, otherwise I'm gonna fall through. But yeah, you can see with the lossless scaling, we're getting well over 200 frames a second consistently. We're getting like 230 right now, which is pretty insane. Go ahead and take his weapon. That's one of the cool things about this game, is that you can take the enemy's weapons and then use their weapons against you or against them, depending on what you want. But the art style of the game really can't be overstated. It's really, really quite incredible. But there you have it. You throw in the lossless scaling and the frames just, they get insane. So there we go. Okay, next up for you I have Fallout 4. Now this is one of my favorite games of all time. And previously, when I featured this on a previous Retroid Pocket 6 video, I was playing it on Game Hub, and it didn't have this this letterboxing or window mode issue. I've tried to troubleshoot it and figure out how to get it out of window mode and put it on full screen, but I haven't been able to figure it out. And so leave me a comment in the comments below if you have a trick on Game Native to get a game out of window mode into full screen. So, okay, so here we go. Let's get into a fight. But we do basically get a locked 60 frames on the Retroid Pocket 6 on game native for this game. We get, you know, really good performance. It doesn't really seem to tank at all, so. Alright, we need some, let's see. Take that. Okay, here we go. Oh, got me. Okay, so there you have it. Really good performance, even without using lossless scaling on Game Hub here. But let's go ahead and throw on the lossless scaling and see how that improves things. All right, here we go. Fallout 4 with lossless scaling enabled, and we're getting, again, over 200 frames a second. That's pretty insane. So incredible performance, and sometimes over 300 frames a second. Let's see, try to get some more ammo. Right. Yeah, holding over 200 frames a second with lossless scaling. And again, this is playing at 720p, Retroid Pocket 6 base model. Nice. Yeah, it's basically holding over 200 frames this entire time. I mean, quite insane. But yeah, there you go. Another game running, I mean, way better. I've lost the scaling. I mean, it's got what? It's bouncing between 180 and 240 frames. Pretty insane. Okay, everyone. Next up, I have Batman Arkham City. And for being a base model Retroid Pocket 6, you get really insane performance on this game. It plays really, really good. So inside buildings, you're going to get almost a lock 60 frames. And then during fight scenes and outside in the city, it drops down, you know, closer to like 40 frames. So. Okay, so we're going into a much larger area, and you'll see, yeah, it drops down to, you know, closer to 40 frames. But then as it's loading up assets and everything, it's going to be even lower in the 20s. But still, you know, very, very playable. Okay, so let's kind of zip around a little bit, kind of show you what we got. Yeah, we're getting more like 32 to 37 frames. It was definitely playable, but I mean, I would definitely want more frames than this if I'm going to try to play through the whole game. Okay, so now you got a good idea of what we're going to expect. Inside the buildings, we're going to get almost a lock 60, and then outside and roaming around Arkham City, we're going to get mid-20s to the higher 40s, but we don't really get over 50 frames. So, okay, now let's check out lossless scaling and see how much of a difference that makes in Batman Arkham City. Okay, so here we go, Batman Arkham City with lossless scaling enabled, and instead of getting, you know, like 28 to 47 frames, we're getting 219 currently. So huge difference. An absolute, like, huge difference. And then also you'll just notice that the camera movement and just animation in general is much better. All right, let's go get in a fight. Yeah, in the big fight sequence here, we're going to hold over 120 frames, which is really awesome because then that allows us to take advantage of the 120 Hz screen that we have on the Retroid Pocket 6. Yeah, but basically that whole fight we held more than 120 frames. Like, just awesome performance. And so again, if you only have the base model, Retroid Pocket 6, Retroid Pocket Nova, Odin 2 Portal, Ein Thor, any of the base models of these, well, not the base Thor, because that would only have the Snapdragon 865, but any 8 Gen 2 device, Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 device with only 8 GB of RAM, I would highly recommend lossless scaling. And at only $6.99, I mean, it's awesome. So, all right, there we go, everyone. 5 games showing you how they play without lossless scaling, and then the monumental difference in turning it on. I mean, we got jumps of frame rates from the mid to low 20s, and then they capped out around 60. Jumping that all the way up to 140, 200 frames, and then sometimes even as high as 300 frames per second. Now that's absolute insane performance to get out of a base model Retroid Pocket 6, in my opinion. And you're going to be able to get this exact same performance out of your Retroid Pocket Nova, out of your AYN Thor, or your AYN Odin 2. It's going to work with all of these 8 Gen 2 devices. And keep in mind, I am using Pulse, so I'm using that software that tones down, dials down the CPU and allows the GPU to breathe a little bit more and to run at a higher frame rate, and you still get great frame rates. So I do recommend getting either Pulse or Cluster Tune, whichever one you like best. I'll leave a link in the comment section below for Pulse if that's the one that you want to go with. But in my opinion, $6.99 for the lossless scaling file from Steam is absolutely worth it, worth every penny. And I think now that I have it, I'm actually going to be switching back to using Game Native more. Now, previously I was using Game Hub more because it had artificial frame generation built in. And at the time, I was getting better performance out of Game Hub than I was Game Native. But now that I have lossless scaling, I do see myself going back and using Game Native more than Game Hub, because it is more user-friendly, it's definitely more beginner-friendly, and it definitely plays more games. It's easier to get games running on Game Native than it is Game Hub. It's got more compatibility across the board. And so I do see myself using Game Native more in the future. But let me know what you think about everything that we covered in this video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Leave them in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer your questions as fast as I possibly can. And if you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful and this content was helpful and answered any questions that you might have had, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It helps out the channel more than you know, and please hit that thumbs up button as well, and it'll help the algorithm spread this video to more people. I'm on the road to try to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I would really, really love it if you would join me for that journey. Doesn't cost you anything, but it helps the channel immensely. But everyone, please do your best to try to be nice to everyone in your life. I know it's not easy. And whenever possible, game on.